Hey, Mr. Bound and anyone else watching. What's going on? It's Chris. To start things off, I hope everyone is staying safe during these hard times. With everything going on in the world, I couldn't help but think more and more deeply about the fiction novel I read earlier in the year called The Help. If you haven't read the novel yet, I'll give you a quick summary. So basically, this girl returns home from college and needs to start making money and find a job. She decides to interview one of the family's maids because she feels people would find that very interesting. At first, she's only into it because she needs the money, but as the novel goes on, she gets more tied to the maids due to the racial injustice they face every single day. It's crazy to think about how problems our society faced in the 1960s still haunt us today. One of my main takeaways from The Help is a notation that people have to learn from their mistakes. Throughout the novel, there are countless acts of racism, but very few times people stand up to it. I think it's very important to see how inhumane many African Americans were treated in the 60s, and honestly, still today. My thesis was that The Help is a novel that connects the past to the world we are living in now, highlighting how the problems of the past are still very much around today. My first piece of evidence is the murder of George Floyd. George was a 46-year-old African American male from Minnesota who was originally arrested for having a counterfeit bill. While he was already in handcuffs and secured, a white police officer named Derek Chauvin knelt on his neck for 9 straight minutes. A bystander took a video of this horrific event, and it might have been one of the worst things I've ever seen. In the video, you see Mr. Floyd repeatedly saying, "I can't breathe," while the officer is kneeling on his neck. On top of this, 2 other officers were also helping restrain George. These officers had acted like George was a serial killer, but all he had done was use a counterfeit bill, which he most likely didn't even know it was fake. The officer was fired the next day, but it took a while for them to be charged. Excuse me. The cops overreacted due to the color of his skin, which is the dumbest thing in the world. We are all the same on the inside and are all a part of one race, which is the human race. My next piece of evidence is a problem from earlier this year that not too many people might know about. Akeem Alou is an African American hockey player who has played all over the world. He has spent time in Germany, Britain, and even the NHL. In October, he had opened up about a problem he has faced his whole life, which was racism. The world is already scary enough, so hockey was supposed to be his escape. He told a story about how he was a 16-year-old kid and was playing with 19 and 20-year-olds due to his skill level. He was the only African American on the team, but at the time he didn't think much of it. His so-called friends and teammates would put Tiger Balm in his jockstrap and throw his gear on the roof. The coach would make fun of his clothes and the way he would speak. They would strip him down, lock him in a shower, and crank up the heat. I'm just getting sick talking about this right now. He dreamed of his parents reading about him scoring the game-winning goal. Instead, they heard how he had to quit the team and hockey because he couldn't deal with the hate any longer. When Akeem spoke out, many players started coming out. All Akeem wanted to do was chase his dreams and be the best player he could, but all that was taken away due to racist sociopaths. Just how the maids in The Help didn't have any opportunity to do great things, Akeem's opportunity was also taken away. Recently, he has combined with 6 other African American players to create the Hockey Diversity Alliance, which works tirelessly to bring change to hockey and society in general. My final piece of evidence is the fact that we still have monuments made up of known racists. In Richmond, Virginia, there is a huge monument of the Confederate Army leader. I don't understand how people can even stand to look at this structure, knowing all the harm he has caused to African Americans while he was alive. In Philadelphia, there is a statue of former Mayor Frank Rizzo. He is a known segregationalist and racist police chief. In Alabama, there are multiple statues of Confederate soldiers standing next to their general. Recently, all these structures have been vandalized or taken down by protesters. I personally don't have a problem with this because they shouldn't have been up in the first place. Currently, there are about 1,800 Confederate symbols across the U.S. This is absolutely jaw-dropping, and the higher authority has to make the decision to ban racist monuments immediately. Honoring these people shows how we have not really changed at all and literally highlights the need for change. In conclusion, I think the help is very important today, and we should look back on it to see we are making the same mistakes over and over again. As time goes by, racism continues to negatively affect the world and people. We have to learn to stick to the memo. If you don't have nothing nice to say, then don't say anything at all. The world is filled with opportunity for everyone, and the color of your skin shouldn't take this away from you. Anyways, thank you for listening to my TED Talk today. I hope all you guys have a nice day.